The sacred moon pavilion glowed silver under the full moon, its ancient stone pillars draped with wisteria vines that only bloomed for the bonding ritual. Hundreds of wolves had gathered in their human forms, their excited whispers creating a low hum that made Lyrelai's stomach churn with dread. She stood alone at the edge of the ceremonial platform, her thin ceremonial dress doing nothing to shield her from the cruel stares and barely concealed snickers. The other unbonded Omegas clustered together in their finery, jewels glinting, hair elaborately styled. Lyrelai's simple braid and bare feet marked her as what she was: packless, sponsorless, unwanted. "Why did she even come?" someone whispered, not bothering to lower their voice enough. "Tradition says all unbonded Omegas must attend," another replied, "even the cursed ones." Lyrelai kept her eyes fixed on the marble platform where Elder Thoreau stood with his ceremonial staff. 23 years old, and this was her 7th bonding ritual. 7 times standing here while alphas chose their mates. 7 times being passed over, ignored, rejected. The cursed Omega. That's what they called her. Though none dared speak of why. Born under the blood moon, marked by the goddess with eyes that shifted from brown to violet when her emotions ran high. Her own pack, the crescents of the eastern ridge, had cast her out at 16, claiming she brought misfortune. Her parents, fearing association with her curse, had stood silent as the pack elders banished their only daughter. The lunar prophecy, whispered in forgotten texts, spoke of an Omega marked by violet fire who would either unite the realms or destroy them. Most believed it was merely legend. Those who didn't wanted her dead before she could fulfill either fate. "Begin!" Elder Thoreau's voice rang out, and Lyrelai's heart sank as the familiar dance started. One by one, the other Omegas received pendants, their faces glowing with joy. The crowd cheered for each pairing. But as always, the Alpha's eyes slid past Lyrelai as if she were invisible. The ritual was nearly over. Only 3 Omegas remained unclaimed, and Lyrelai watched as even they received their pendants from last-minute suitors. Now she stood completely alone on the platform, her cheeks burning with humiliation as hundreds of eyes turned to stare. Elder Thoreau cleared his throat uncomfortably. The ritual concludes. May the blessed pairs find happiness in their bonds." A cruel laugh rang out from the crowd. "Look at the cursed Omega. 7 years and still alone. Even the desperate won't take her. Her parents were right to abandon her." A sudden hush fell over the pavilion. The temperature seemed to drop, and every wolf present felt it. Raw, primordial power approaching. The crowd parted like water as a figure emerged from the northern archway. Alpha King Zephyrian Night Whisper. Lyrelai's breath caught. She'd never seen him before. He rarely attended public rituals, ruling from his mountain fortress of Shadow Peak. He was impossibly tall, his midnight black hair falling past his shoulders, eyes like molten gold that seemed to pierce through whatever they looked upon. Power radiated from him in waves that made even the strongest alphas step back. He wore no finery, just black hunting leathers that emphasized his lethal grace. Scars marked his hands and what she could see of his arms, battle scars from the shadow wars he'd won to unite the fractured packs. "My king." Elder Thoreau bowed so low his beard touched the ground. "We were not expecting—" "Continue the ritual." Zephyrian's voice was deep, carrying primal authority. "But it has concluded, Your Majesty. All pairs have been—" "Not all." The Alpha King's golden gaze fixed on Lyrelai, and she felt the world tilt. He moved toward her with predatory grace, his attention never wavering. The crowd's whispers rose to shocked murmurs. "The cursed Omega!" Surely he's not. Zephyrian ascended the platform steps. Up close, Lyrali could see flecks of copper in his golden eyes, could smell his scent. Pine forests and lightning storms and something wild that made her Omega instincts scream to both run and submit simultaneously. Your name, he commanded softly. Lyrali, she managed. Lyrali. He said it slowly, as if tasting it. Then, to everyone's shock, the Alpha King knelt on one knee before her. Gasps erupted. An Alpha King had never knelt to anyone, let alone an Omega, especially not the rejected, cursed Omega. From his leather coat, he withdrew not a common moon pendant, but something that made Elder Thoreau stagger. The crown pendant, a legendary moonstone surrounded by black diamonds, the symbol of the Alpha King's chosen mate. Lyrali, Zephyrian said, his voice carrying across the pavilion. I offer you not just my mark, but my crown, my power, my eternal protection. Will you accept? The pavilion erupted in chaos, but Zephyrian's eyes never left Lyrali's face. Why? She whispered. You don't even know me. Something dangerous and tender passed across his features. Don't I? He rose to his full height. I've been searching for you for 7 years, little wolf. Through dreams and visions sent by the moon goddess herself. The lunar prophecy speaks of an Omega marked by violet fire who will either save or destroy our kind. Tonight, I choose to believe you'll save us. Lyrali looked at the pendant, then at the crowd that had mocked her for years, including a cluster of figures in the back, wearing Eastern Ridge colors, her parents among them but keeping their faces hidden. Then back at the mysterious Alpha King whose presence made her feel chosen rather than cursed. With trembling fingers, she took the pendant. The moment the moonstone touched her palm, blazing heat shot through her body. Her eyes flared violet, and Zephyrian inhaled sharply. Before she could speak, he pulled her against him, one arm iron-strong around her waist. Mine, he growled, loud enough for all to hear. Then his head dipped to her neck, and she felt his teeth graze the sensitive spot where a mating mark would go. Not biting yet. That would come with the private ceremony, but claiming publicly, unmistakably. The cursed Omega is claimed by the Alpha King, Elder Thoreau announced, his voice shaking. Let none challenge this bond. But as Zephyrian pulled back, his lips brushed her ear with a whisper that chilled her blood. Your curse isn't what they think it is, little wolf. The Crimson Prophets know what you truly are. The last moon bridge. And we're running out of time. The Alpha King's private carriage cut through the night like a shadow made solid. Behind them, his personal guard, 12 elite warriors led by Captain Marcus, followed in wolf form, their synchronized movements creating a protective perimeter. Lyrali sat rigid on the black velvet seats, acutely aware of Zephyrian across from her, his honeyed gaze studying her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. You're afraid, he observed. I'm confused, she corrected, surprised by her own boldness. The Alpha King doesn't attend bonding rituals. He certainly doesn't claim packless Omegas with cursed reputations. No, he agreed. He doesn't. Then why? Tell me about the dreams, Lyrali. Her blood turned to ice. What dreams? His eyes flashed with knowing. The ones that wake you screaming. The ones where you're running through moonlit forests, neither human nor wolf, but something in between. The ones where shadows speak your name in the old tongue, the language that died before the first pack was formed. How could you possibly know about those? Because I have them too. He leaned forward, and she caught his scent more strongly, wild and intoxicating. Every night for 7 years, a violet-eyed Omega running through my dreams, calling out in a voice that makes my soul ache. I've searched every pack territory looking for you. That's impossible. Is it? He pulled back his sleeve, revealing an intricate mark on his forearm, something that seemed to shift and move under his skin, forming patterns of moons and wolves. This appeared 7 years ago, the night of the crimson eclipse. Tell me, what happened to you that night? 7 years ago, the night the crescents of the eastern ridge had cast her out. The night she'd first transformed and something had gone wrong. Her wolf had been different, too large, too powerful, with abilities that terrified the elders. She'd healed a dying elder's mortal wounds just by touching him, and they'd called it dark magic. I don't understand any of this, she whispered. The carriage suddenly lurched. Zephyrian's head snapped up, his entire body tensing. Through the windows, warning howls echoed from his guard. Stay inside, he commanded, but before he could move, the door was ripped open. 3 figures in blood-red robes stood in the moonlight, their faces hidden beneath deep hoods. The Crimson Prophets, the order that claimed to serve as intermediaries between the moon goddess and wolfkind. Alpha King, the central figure spoke, its voice otherworldly. You were warned not to claim her. The lunar prophecy is clear. The violet-eyed Omega must remain unbonded, or the veil between worlds will shatter. The prophecy speaks of choice, Zephyrian growled, moving protectively in front of Lyreli. Captain Marcus and his warriors formed a defensive circle, teeth bared. She has the right to choose her path. She is the goddess's chosen vessel, the last moonbridge. Her transformation must not be completed through a mate bond. The prophet pushed back his hood, revealing a face scarred by silver burns. I am Matthias, High Prophet. We did what was necessary. Moon bridges are too powerful, their connection to the divine too direct. They would destroy the order we've maintained. The control you've hoarded, Zephyrian snarled. Matthias raised a gnarled hand, and Lyreli screamed as pain exploded through her body. Her bones felt like they were breaking, reshaping, her skin burning with purple fire that didn't consume, but transformed. No! Zephyrian roared, but when he tried to reach her, the same purple fire repelled him. Through her agony, she saw terror in Matthias's eyes. They were afraid of what she was becoming. Kill her now, one prophet urged, before the first transformation completes. We cannot, Matthias replied. The goddess's protection still surrounds her. But we can delay her awakening. They began chanting in the old tongue, and Lyreli felt something inside her splitting, her wolf, her very essence being torn in two. She reached out desperately for Zephyrian. Trust me, he mouthed, then bit down hard on his own wrist, drawing blood. He spoke in the old tongue himself, words of binding, of protection. He flung the crimson droplets into the purple fire. The moment his blood touched the flames, everything exploded. The prophets were blown backward. The purple fire turned silver gold, wrapping around both Lyreli and Zephyrian, before sinking into their skin, leaving matching marks. His silver, hers gold. What have you done? Matthias gasped. You've bound yourself to her transformation. If she fails, you die with her. Then I'd better make sure she succeeds? Zephyrian gathered Lyreli's trembling form into his arms as Captain Marcus and the guard drove the prophets back. And when she does, your centuries of lies end. Lyreli woke in a bed that felt like clouds, surrounded by silver moonlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Every inch of her body ached with deep, bone-weary pain. The room was vast, decorated in shades of midnight blue and silver, with constellations painted across the domed ceiling that seemed to move like real stars. You're awake. She turned to find not Zephyrian, but a woman with timeless eyes and a young face, dressed in silver robes of a healer prime. Her hair was white as fresh snow, though she appeared no older than 30. I'm Nixara, the woman said, approaching slowly. Last of the Moonbridge Keepers, though I haven't used that title in decades. His Majesty summoned me urgently when you arrived. Captain Marcus recognized the signs of a Moonbridge transformation. You've been unconscious for 3 days. Moonbridge Keepers? An order much older than those corrupted prophets. We were created to protect and train Moonbridges, back when your kind were revered instead of hunted. Nixara pulled an ornate mirror from her supplies. Look. Lyra Lee gasped. Her brown eyes now held permanent flecks of violet and gold, Zephyrian's gold. But more striking were the marks along her neck and arms, delicate patterns like moonlight on water that seemed to pulse with their own light. What am I? She whispered. Something that hasn't existed openly for 300 years, Nixara said gravely. A Moonbridge, a wolf born to link the earthly pacts with the goddess's realm. Your grandmother, Seraphina of the Eastern Ridge, was one, though she hid it well. The prophets have been hunting your bloodline to extinction. My grandmother? But she died before I was born. Murdered by the prophets when they discovered what she was. Your parents thought keeping you ignorant would keep you safe. Nixara touched one of Lyrale's marks gently. But power like yours can't be hidden forever. And now that you've been claimed by an Alpha King, marked by his blood during your first transformation, you're even more dangerous to them. The door opened and Zephyrian entered, looking haggard. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and she could see a new mark on his neck. Silver veins that matched her purple fire, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Leave us, he commanded Nixara, who bowed and departed with a knowing look. The moment they were alone, he crossed to the bed but stopped just out of reach. How do you feel? Like I've been shattered and remade, she said honestly. Your blood saved me, but you bound your life to mine. Why? My grandfather bore the same mark I do, the shifting moon pattern. He was bound to a Moonbridge, your grandmother, Seraphina. They were true mates, but the prophets discovered them. They killed her and nearly destroyed him. He lived just long enough to warn me that the mark would pass down, that I would need to find and protect the last Moonbridge. Lyrale's world tilted. So this is all destiny? There's always choice. I won't force a bond on you, but without my protection, the prophets will return. A knock interrupted. Captain Marcus entered, bowing low. My king, urgent news. Pax Silverfang and Ironwood have sent delegations. Lord Gareth of Silverfang and Matriarch Isolde of Ironwood are demanding proof that the Omega you've claimed is suitable. They're invoking the ancient right of trial. Zephyrian's expression darkened dangerously. They dare? Lord Gareth claims a cursed Omega cannot be queen. Matriarch Isolde questions whether she's truly the prophesied Moonbridge. What's the ancient right of trial? Lyra Lee asked. An old law, Zephyrian said, fury barely contained. Any Omega claimed by royalty can be challenged to prove their worth through 3 tests: strength, wisdom, and spirit. If you fail any of them, the claim is void, and you're cast out permanently. Lyrelai felt her marks pulse with heat. Her grandmother had faced these trials. The knowledge flowed through her blood like inherited memory. When? Tomorrow at moonrise, if you accept. I accept, she said, standing with surprising steadiness. Lyrelai, Zephyrian began, worry clear in his voice. No. She turned to face him, violet fire mixing with golden determination in her eyes. I've spent my life being rejected. If I'm going to be your mate, your queen, I won't have anyone questioning it. Something primal and appreciative flashed in his eyes. The trials are dangerous. The last Omega who attempted them died horribly. Then tell me everything I need to know. She moved closer, drawn by instinct. Starting with why my skin burns when you're near, and why your scent makes me want to bare my throat to you. He inhaled sharply, control wavering. That's the true mate bond. The goddess selected us for each other before birth. The dreams, the marks, your transformation responding to my blood, all signs of a connection that transcends normal mating. And if I complete these trials, then no one can separate us. His hand rose to cup her cheek, and she leaned into the touch. But the trials will push you to manifest powers you don't understand. Once that door opens, there's no closing it. Dawn broke blood red over Shadow Peak. Lyralee stood on the castle's highest balcony, watching thousands of wolves gather at the trial grounds, a massive amphitheater carved into the living rock of the mountain itself, accessible by a winding path from the valley below. Representatives from every major pack had arrived overnight, their banners creating a sea of colors. She spotted the silver crescent banner of the Eastern Ridge among them, and this time she could see her parents clearly, standing apart from their pack, faces etched with shame and regret. "You should rest," Zephyrian said behind her. "I can't." She didn't turn, too aware of how his presence affected her. The mate bond grew stronger hourly. "Tell me about the Omega who died." "Celestria, chosen by my uncle." His voice carried old pain. Beautiful, gentle, a healer. The trial of strength broke her. Lord Gareth's father demanded she fight a berserker. She lasted less than a minute. "And you couldn't stop it?" "The old laws forbid interference." He moved beside her, careful not to touch. "But there's something else. Word has spread about what you are. The last Moonbridge. Some want to use you. Others want you dead before your power manifests." "How did my grandmother pass?" "Through cunning and raw power. But she had years of training." Nyxara entered with attendants carrying ceremonial gear. "The trial keeper has arrived, Lord Magistrate Cromwell from the Northern Territories. Unlike Elder Thoreau, who oversees rituals, Cromwell ensures trials follow the old laws. His position is bound by blood oath to the goddess herself." The preparation was elaborate. Ritual bathing in moon water, marking with shimmering oils, dressing in traditional silver and white garments that displayed her spreading marks. "Your marks are multiplying," Nyxara observed, tracing new patterns along Lyralee's shoulder. "The trials will accelerate your transformation. You'll either fully awaken as a Moonbridge, or die," Lyralee finished. Nyxara leaned close, whispering urgently, "Your grandmother left something for you. If you survive, find me after. There are secrets about your bloodline. Even the king doesn't know." When Lyralee emerged, Zephyrian waited in formal regalia, black armor with silver moon phases, a midnight wolf fur cape, and a crown of black iron and moonstone. His sun-bright eyes darkened when he saw her. "You're terrified for me," she observed. "I can't interfere. If you're dying before me, I have to watch or forfeit everything." "Then don't watch." "I must witness every moment." He stepped closer, her marks flaring in response. "Lyralee, if something goes wrong, it won't." She touched the silver veins on his neck. "We're connected. I can feel your strength through the bond. I won't waste it." "My brave little wolf," he murmured, fear and admiration clear. Drums echoed through the castle, deep, primal rhythms from the mountain itself, The trial grounds were packed beyond capacity. 7 pack leaders sat in judgment, including the sneering Lord Gareth and the calculating matriarch Isolde. The Crimson Prophets lurked in shadows. At the center stood Lord Magistrate Cromwell, scarred and imposing, with eyes like polished steel. Lyrelei, formerly of the Eastern Ridge, Cromwell announced, his voice silencing thousands. You stand trial for the right to mate our Alpha King and claim the crown. Do you accept freely, knowing failure means death or exile? I do. Then face your first trial. Strength of body and will. The ground shifted, stone grinding as the mountain opened. 3 berserkers emerged. Cursed warriors lost to bloodlust, their forms twisted beyond normal wolf anatomy, claws dripping poison. Outrage rippled through the crowd. 3 berserkers? Someone shouted. The law states 1 opponent. The law states appropriate challenge, Cromwell replied coldly. A moonbridge is no ordinary omega. Begin. The berserkers charged from 3 directions. Lyrelei's instincts, omega and something deeper, took over. She dropped and rolled, feeling claws whistle overhead. Her marks blazed, her form shifting, not to wolf, but something between. Bones elongated while remaining partially human, hands becoming moonlight claws, eyes blazing violet gold. She met the second berserker's charge, claws locking, but through the bloodlust she heard voices pleading. Help us. Trapped. So long. The prophets did this. These weren't monsters, but wolves, cursed and imprisoned. Through her moonbridge sight, she saw dark magic wrapped around their hearts like chains. Prophet magic. She's hesitating, Lord Gareth mocked. But Matriarch Isolde leaned forward, weathered eyes narrowing. No, she's analyzing. Watch carefully, Gareth. This is why I came, to see if the prophecy is true. Instead of killing, Lyrelei changed tactics. She dodged and weaved, her marks spreading in new patterns, inherited memory from her grandmother's bloodline. Moonlight within her reached out, touching each berserker. They howled, rage, then confusion, then hope. With a final surge that left her gasping, Lyrelei pressed glowing hands to all 3 simultaneously, creating a triangle of moonlight. The prophet magic shattered like black glass. 3 normal wolves collapsed, sobbing with relief. One looked up with tears. 20 years trapped for questioning the prophets. Thank you, Moonbridge. Impossible, Lord Gareth snarled. First trial passed with distinction, Cromwell announced with respect. The second trial came immediately. Wisdom of mind and heart. A crystal labyrinth materialized, moonstone walls reflecting infinite versions of herself, crowned and powerful, broken and dying, transformed into something inhuman. Navigate to the center before Moonpeak, Cromwell commanded. Choose wrong, and the maze consumes your mind. Lyrelei entered. The reflections whispered, left path leads to power. Right leads to eternal love. Turn back. You're too weak. The center holds only death. Each showed her fears and desires. Then she felt it. Not one presence, but many. The moon bridges before her. Grandmother Seraphina strongest. We don't choose one path, child. We bridge all paths. Understanding flooded through. She pressed her hand to the nearest wall, marks flaring. The moonstone recognized her as kin, a moon bridge who could walk between worlds. She sang an old song in the old tongue, rising from genetic memory. The walls resonated, becoming transparent. She walked straight through, each dissolving at her approach. She emerged at the center in minutes. There waited her true test, herself, but wrong. permanently transformed between wolf and human, pure violet eyes with no humanity. I am your future, it said. Neither wolf nor woman, neither mortal nor divine. Forever between, alone. You're not my future. You're my fear of it. I am inevitable. Power will consume you. Maybe. But hiding from power is another form of powerlessness. You're part of me, my fear, my potential for isolation. But you forgot something. What? Bridges connect. They don't exist in isolation. She embraced her dark reflection and it integrated into her, becoming part of her strength rather than her weakness. Second trial passed with wisdom beyond years, Cromwell announced. The final trial began. The ground became black water, the mirror of souls. Spirit cannot be faked, Cromwell intoned. Enter. Face yourself. Survive. Lyrelei stepped into black water, liquid shadow pulling her into visions, her parents letting the pack cast her out. Disappointment. Fear. Relief. It's for the best, her mother had said. Years of isolation, eating alone at pack gatherings, watching others find mates while she stood apart. Her first transformation, too large, too powerful, healing light the elders called unnatural. Zephyrian dying from their bond, whispering, "You are always cursed." "You are destruction," her own voice said from the depths. "Everything you touch dies or transforms. You're not a bridge, you're catastrophe." Her shadow self emerged, perfect and terrible. Not fear or potential, but her shadow, every negative thought given form. Black void eyes, marks like scars, rows of tearing teeth. "I am your truth," it said, "the monster they fear." "You're right. I am dangerous, different, cast out, rejected, feared. I have power that terrifies prophets. My own parents chose their pack over me." Then you admit, "I admit you're part of me. My anger at abandonment, my hurt at rejection, my rage at injustice, my power that doesn't fit their definitions. But you're not all of me." "Then what are you?" Lyrely thought of Zephyrian's 7-year search, the freed berserkers, Nyxara's patient teaching, her grandmother's legacy. Someone who chooses connection despite isolation, who heals despite hurt, who loves despite being unloved. Her marks blazed silver moonlight. "I accept you, my anger, pain, power, but also my strength, resilience, refusal to break." She extended her hand in partnership. The shadow looked, then slowly took it. They touched, and black water exploded into silver light. Her shadow remained visible beside her, a companion rather than enemy, integrated but maintaining its own form when needed for protection or strength. "Remarkable," Cromwell breathed. She made peace with her shadow. "Third trial passed with unprecedented distinction," he announced. The crowd erupted in awe and fear. Lyrali stood with her shadow self beside her, both glowing with power. Matthias stepped forward, desperate. "She cannot live." "The last moon bridge. When she awakens fully, the veil will shatter. The goddess will walk among us." "And destroy you," Zephyrian interrupted, suddenly beside Lyrali. "You've lied for 3 centuries. Tell them what you did to the moon bridges." "We protected Wolfkind." "They were too powerful. Would have destroyed our order." "Your control," Nyxara said, stepping forward with an old tome, Seraphina's journal. "You hunted them because they could hear the goddess's true voice. You created the veil to prevent the goddess from seeing what you'd done in her name." Matthias raised a blade humming with dark energy, wolfsbane, silver, corrupted moon metal. Then we end this bloodline. The blade flew toward Lyrelai, but her shadow self moved faster than sight, catching it mid-air. Where shadow touched blade, both began dissolving. You made one mistake, Lyrelai said, her shadow speaking in harmony with her. You taught me I'm the last. All my bloodline's power flows through me now. Her marks exploded across the ground in light patterns. Every wolf felt the veil thinning. Want to see what happens when a fully awakened moonbridge calls the goddess? Lyrelai asked. Let's find out. She and her shadow raised hands to the moon, speaking in the true old tongue. The moon turned violet gold. Every wolf fell to their knees as divine presence filled the grounds, raw, unmediated divinity. My children, the voice came from everywhere, so long kept from you. Through Lyrelai's eyes, she alone could stand, the goddess manifested as primal moonlight wolf, vast as sky, with starbirth eyes. 300 years, the goddess said, fixing on the prophets. You used my name while severing connection, corrupted gifts, twisted words, hunted my bridges. We protected, Matthias began. Silence. His voice stopped. You sought rule, feared my moon bridges because through them, wolves heard my true will. All equal under moon, power protects not dominates, love transcends boundaries. The goddess turned to Lyrelai. My last bridge, brave daughter. Choose, destroy the veil entirely, might kill many grown rigid, or become permanent bridge, filtering power as needed. Permanent bridge means permanent transformation, never fully wolf or human again. You'll be something new. Necessary. The goddess looked at Zephyrion. Your mate understands the price. To be bonded to a bridge is sharing that liminal space. Zephyrion took Lyrelai's hand without hesitation. I belong wherever she is. Then choose. Lyrelai looked at the assembled packs, some cowering, others wondering, freed berserkers standing with their recovered families, Nyxara encouraging, prophets trembling. Lord Gareth's sneer had completely faltered, while Matriarch Isolde watched with what might have been approval. Her parents had pushed forward through the crowd, tears on their faces. Captain Marcus and his guard stood ready, proud of their queen. I choose to bridge, she announced, not to separate but help you grow strong enough to bear divine will. To heal what's broken, unite what's divided. Her shadow self flowed back into her, not disappearing but merging, ready to emerge when needed for battle or protection. The transformation was transcendent, still wolf in essence, human in form, but more. Marks became permanent, shifting like water-caught moonlight. Eyes remained tri-colored with eternal depths. It is done. The bridge is restored. Any who harm her or her mate face my wrath and every moonbridge's judgment. As divine presence receded to manageable levels through Lyrelai, wolves understood the fundamental change. The false prophet age is ended, Cromwell announced with new vitality. The moonbridge stands eternal. The Alpha King's claim is validated beyond question. All hail Queen Lyrelai, Bridge of Worlds. Even Lord Gareth knelt, arrogance gone. Matriarch Isolde stepped forward, speaking clearly. The Ironwood Pack acknowledges the Moonbridge Queen. I came to test you, child, and you exceeded every expectation. Your grandmother would be proud. But desperate Matthias pulled a second blade from his robes, pure void, designed to cut connections themselves. The first blade lay shattered where Lyrelai's shadow had destroyed it. If I cannot rule, all falls. He lunged at Zephyrion, knowing killing him would destroy her through their bond. Time slowed. Lyrelai moved with beyond mortal speed, But she wouldn't reach him running through normal space. She was a bridge now. She stepped through the veil itself, emerging from moonlight between Zephyrian and Blade. The void weapon pierced her chest, agony beyond description, every connection being severed. No! Zephyrian's roar shook the mountain. His transformation was instant. Not just Alpha King Wolf, but primal shadow fury. But Lyrelay wasn't dying. The blade meant to sever connections couldn't cut what existed in multiple realms simultaneously. Fool! She gasped, grabbing Matthias's wrist. You can't sever what exists everywhere at once. Her marks blazed blindingly. Through her touch, Matthias felt every severed connection, every murdered moonbridge, every lie. 3 centuries of corruption flowed into him. He screamed, releasing the blade. The connection his weapon created became his doom. Justice flowed through it. Not the goddess's justice, but the moonbridge's justice. Matthias aged decades in seconds, crumbling to dust. Other prophets fled into night, but Captain Marcus commanded, "Hunt them down." No corrupted prophet escapes justice. Lyrelai pulled the void blade out. Silver light poured from the wound, sealing itself, leaving only a star-shaped mark over her heart. "Your Majesty," Lord Gareth stepped forward, genuinely respectful now. "We didn't understand. The prophets told us moonbridges were dangerous. They were right. We are dangerous to power abusers, unstable to false systems, but also healers, connectors, bridges between what is and could be." She addressed all assembled. "I offer choice. Accept the new way. Direct divine connection, judgment for crimes, healing for wounds, or leave for packs clinging to old corruptions. But the false prophet age has truly ended." Most knelt immediately. Some fled. Many who stayed were crying. Wolves who'd lost mates to prophets, rejected omegas, alphas forced into unwanted brutality. The freed berserkers wept as their families embraced them, whole again after decades of separation. "Healing takes time," Nyxara said, approaching with tears. "Centuries of damage won't be undone tonight." "No, but it begins tonight." Lyrelai raised her hands. Moonlight rained down, healing old wounds, physical, emotional, spiritual. Rejected omegas felt worth acknowledged. Forced alphas felt false expectations lift. Her parents finally reached her, her mother speaking through tears. "Lyrelai, we were cowards. Fear made us fail you. Can you ever forgive?" "You're my parents," Lyrelai said simply. "I choose to forgive, though trust must be rebuilt. The bridge I am connects even broken bonds, if both sides are willing." Her father wept openly. "We'll spend our lives earning your forgiveness." Zephyrian wrapped his arms around her from behind, solid and grounding. Through their bond, she felt his overwhelming relief, love, pride. "You died for me," he murmured. "I transcended death for us all. That's what bridges do." "My queen," he said formally, loud enough for all. "The mate bond is half complete. Will you grant me your mark?" She turned in his arms. "You bound yourself before knowing if I'd survive. Searched 7 years on dreams. Stood against centuries of corruption for truth. The honor is mine." She bit where neck met shoulder. The world exploded into sensation, not just souls connecting, but through her. He touched the divine realm, saw creation's threads, felt existence's weight and wonder. Her mark wasn't just a mating bite, but a constellation. Stars mapping him as the bridge's chosen, her anchor king. The completed bond sent shockwaves. Everyone felt its rightness. Souls crafted for each other across years and realms. Where she bridged, he anchored. Where she connected realms, He grounded them, complete together. "Let it be known," Cromwell announced joyfully, "trials complete beyond imagination. The Alpha King and Moonbridge Queen stand united. Any who challenge this challenge reality itself." The celebration was unprecedented. Dozens of packs united for the first time in generations. Barriers crumbled. Old feuds set aside. Captain Marcus reported his warriors had captured several fleeing prophets, who would face trial for their crimes. Dawn broke rose gold with promise over Shadow Peak. Lyrelay stood on the familiar balcony with Zephyrian, hands intertwined, marks glowing in synchronized pulses. "Regrets?" he asked. "7 years ago, you were a normal Omega. Now you're a divine bridge, Queen, existing between worlds." She looked at him, tri-colored eyes bright. "7 years ago, I thought I was cursed, worthless, would die alone unmourned." She touched his constellation mark. "Now I know truth. I was never cursed. I was waiting." "For what?" "For you to find me. For the world's readiness. For courage to stop hiding." She pressed her forehead to his. "I feel them through connection. All previous moon bridges, including grandmother Seraphina. They're proud. We broke the fear chain." "And forged hope's new one." Nixara knocked, entering with an ornate box. "Your Majesty, your grandmother's final gift." Inside, a letter and moonstone pendant. "Dearest granddaughter, if reading this, you've stood in truth despite fear. The pendant helps control the bridge when overwhelming. Remember, we don't carry weight alone. That's why the goddess gives us mates, friends, pack. You're never alone. All my love, Seraphina." Tears fell as Lirali donned the pendant, feeling her grandmother's love across time and death. Howls rose throughout the valley, celebration and hope. The rejected Omega had become divine queen. The Alpha King found his true mate. The world transformed. "My queen, mate, bridge," Zephyrian murmured against her lips. "My king, anchor, home," she replied. As the sun rose fully golden, Lyrelai felt the goddess's warm embrace. The prophecy was complete unexpectedly. The last moon bridge hadn't destroyed or saved. She'd transformed everything. And in transformation, she'd found something worth more than any crown. Acceptance, love, and knowledge that being different wasn't a curse, but a gift, waiting to be unveiled. The rejected Omega's story had become legend, but for Lyrelay and Zephyrian, their eternal bond was just beginning. Thank you for listening. Sometimes what the world calls a curse is actually your greatest strength waiting to emerge. We're all bridges between who we were and who we're becoming, between fear and love, between rejection and acceptance. May you find courage to cross your own bridges and claim the life waiting on the other side.